call to the order the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Today's March 4th, and it is 6 p.m. Mr. Harmon, will you take the roll, please?
I will defer to Ms. Benitez.
Ms. Benitez.
Commissioner Capolongo will not be here. He told me he would not be able to make it. Commissioner Prow. Commissioner Simmons.
Present.
Vice Chair Frost.
Present.
Chairman Pranzo.
Present.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving right along. Discussion, approval, disapproval of the minutes of the regular meetings conducted on January 21st. We'll take that one first. And the February 4th, 2021. Do we have any comments on the minutes? I thought they were written quite well, actually. Could I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, this is Vice Chair Frost. I will motion for approval of the January 21st minutes.
Do I have a second?
I will second the motion.
Okay, so I have a motion by Vice Chair Frost, second by Commissioner Simmons. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carried. February 4th, 2021. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 4th, 2021. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
So I have a motion by Chairman Pranzo, second by Vice Chair Frost. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, new business, nomination by the commission to select a chair and vice chair. Mr. Harmon, you are on stage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. This is actually something that should happen on a regular basis, and I know it hasn't happened with the commission for a while. We've just recently done so with the HDAC also, but basically it's just to select or reinforce by affirmation the current status quo. It's up to you, but right now I'd open for nominations for a chair for the Planning and Zoning Commission for the town of Florence.
Mr. Chairman, Larry, I would nominate current Chairman Gary Pranzo to continue in that role as chairman.
Are there
I
any
would
other
echo that nomination.
Pardon me?
I said I would echo that nomination.
Then, Mr. Chairman, by affirmation, if you want to vote, we certainly can, but if, you know, since it's this is typically election by affirmation at this point, if there are either no other nominations and it's 100%.
So Lonnie Frost asked Gary if he wanted to be chair again, and Gary said yes. So Lonnie Frost backed out. Nice and me.
Kathy, you know that your speaker's on.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, and welcome, by the way. So all those in favor of Mr. Pranzo continuing as chair for the Planning and Zoning Commission for the town of Florence, please say aye.
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 You can vote
Aye.
for yourself. There you go. You can vote for yourself. Thank
Gentlemen,
you.
thank you. I'm honored.
Now, Mr. Pranzo, Mr. Chairman Pranzo, it's up to you. I can do the same for the vice chair, or you can conduct it at this point.
No, keep going the way you're going.
Okay. Then I will open for nominations for the vice chair for the Planning and Zoning Commission for the town of Florence.
Mr. Harmon, I will nominate Vice Chair, Mr. Frost.
Do I hear a concurrence from Mr. Simmons?
Yes, you do. I would echo that nomination.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And I heard the train in the background.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Nobody got that but you and I, Gary. I don't know. It is your meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving right along. 5B, presentation, motion to approve with conditions, deny of a request for a temporary use permit, PZ 2115, by applicant Rory Maynard from Edge UTV Rental. Do we have a background on this,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will give a short introduction.
please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Commissioner Proud just joined us.
Should we tell him that he's the new chairman?
Sorry,
Bad joke. Never mind.
The joke was lost. Karen Pronto, members of the commission. Applicant Rory Maynard has applied for a 2-year temporary use permit for a rental UTV business. The lot is located at APN 200-33013B, or just north of the River Bottom Grill. This property is currently zoned as B2 for highway business commercial. And all the zonings around it are either B2 except for the northwest, which is, I believe, rural agriculture. The UTV business currently has a 45-day temporary use permit that was signed off by the Community Development Director, Keith Eaton. For the full 2 year, and I attached the site plan to this packet so you can understand kind of his plan, access, parking. He did get permission from the property owner of the River Bottom Grill to use parking on his land. And he also got permission from the landowner of the site in question. Staff found the proposed use will not have a negative impact on the adjacent properties, and it will not be a nuisance in the next 2 years to the working area. It will also not unreasonably interfere with vehicular pedestrian traffic on that highway, or Highway 79. It was also found that subject is an allowed use for that zoning, and the temporary use support is, the general plan also supports this temporary use. The applicant will ensure that the premises is clean, sanitary, and make sure parking regulations taken care of. If any of these are violated, this temporary use permit could be taken away. So it is up to the applicant to make sure all of this is followed. So based on these findings, planning and zoning staff does recommend a 2-year temporary use permit to Rory Maynard, the applicant. That concludes my presentation. We do have the applicant here to answer any questions if you have some.
Great. I'll turn it over to the commission. Questions, comments?
Mr.
All right,
Chairman,
I'll start.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions.
No, go for it, Mr. Frost, please.
Maricela, in the background information, you said that to stage, rent, repair a fleet of 5 to 15 UTV side-by-sides. Will the repair necessitate a structure on the site to do that? And is that a permitted use?
I will defer for the repair part to our applicant.
First off, thank you guys for considering my application and allowing me to do business in Florence for the last 45 days. It's been pretty nice to get out of the cold. I've come down a few times. As far as to answer the question about repairs, if we're going to do a small repair such as a tire change, or actually more like a wheel change, we actually don't repair any tires on site. We basically take the wheel off of the vehicle and then we take it to a service station and have it repaired. If we change oil, which has been limited, we'll do that on site and make sure that it's properly done and properly contained. But at this point, no major repairs such as engine rebuilds or anything like that will be done on site. The plan would be to come back to you guys after building a successful business and apply to possibly build a building there, negotiate something with the current landowner, and do all that. But we're far from that. We're brand new to town. We're doing much better than we were within the first week. I'm actually pretty amazed with how many rentals we've done over the course of the last 2 weeks. But there's nothing in the plans as of right now to build a building on that property. So, but that is the dream, that if we grew big enough that we would do something right there.
Great. Then I have just one other question, Mr. Chairman. I noticed in driving by there the last little bit that the signage for the facility has basically been a banner on the side of one of the UTVs. What is the future of signage there during this 2-year time period?
I will
Is
refer
that-
back. Yet, Sarah, Rory, could you answer that one, please?
So our plan is to follow any guidelines that you have, make any applications need be to put up a permanent sign there. That was going to be one of the next things that I asked for, because I don't really want to just have the UTV sitting out there with a sign on it. And I want to follow all your guidelines to do it. I actually don't know what they are and haven't looked into them. And currently right now we have 5 UTVs, and we're destinations. So most people come and they know that we're at the River Bottom Grill. They've already been explained that. So, and I don't know if the drive-by traffic so much is such a, I mean, they need to know we're there, but I don't think we're going to get, like an instant turn in and we're going to rent a UTV. Most people plan it. So by the time they come to town, they know where we are. But I would like to have something better than just a UTV rental sign on the side of my UTV. Yes.
That's good. That's what I was hoping for.
We'll make sure that they get the guidelines needed to put up a sign that matches their requirements.
Great.
Mr. Harmer.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, just to kind of as a quick refresher also, if your memory serves, this is the first temporary use permit you've ever seen. Our code did not have this provision in it until the last major revisions that we did.
That's
I think they
correct.
were adopted about a year ago. So this is kind of our test case on it. It's basically what we're providing is an opportunity in this particular case for a business to establish itself, just like in a smaller scale, a home occupation would, which you've recently reviewed and is in front of the council right now. So, we see this as a good tool to promote new businesses in the town. As such, as like in the signage, there are certain types of temporary signage that we do permit for this type of a scenario. So that's what, as Planner Benitez said, we'll be working with the applicant as far as putting something out there that will work for his business, fulfill his needs and still be compliant with the code.
Great. Any other questions or comments?
Not here.
Mr. Pro?
No, nothing here.
Okay. Mr. Maynard, I just have a couple of questions, easy stuff. Gasoline storage, how are you handling that?
Okay, so currently right now we have 5-gallon storage containers, 3 of them, and we drive into town and fill them up when needed. And essentially we drive them in our pickup into town, fill them up, and then they're empty. So it's really not storing much gas on property. In our other location, we require the applicant, or sorry, not the applicants, the customers to fill up the machines with gas before they bring them back. We're not asking the people that are renting in Florence to do that. This is kind of a pain to get out on the highway. And we'd rather that they not get out on the highway and go fill up with gas. I mean, I guess it could be looked at a couple ways. If they go in and fill up with gas, they probably make a little more money tax-wise with the gas stations, but they risk flying out on that highway, which is what we're trying to keep them from doing, which is also one of the reasons why we picked the River Bottom Grill, because they just have the trail right out the back that links us up to East Price Road and then essentially takes us out to the target destination of Box Canyon. So,
Excellent.
uh,
Actually, you gave me a segue into my next question, and you answered it. I was a little concerned with that intersection. It's very busy, and the river bottom traffic is fairly heavy at times. So I was a little bit worried about your vehicles coming out onto the road. Are they licensed over the road?
they are licensed over the road, but the problem with them is they only go 44 miles per hour and they don't get up to that very quickly. So I noticed some of those cars come flying down in there and I just don't want to risk that. So,
Okay.
um,
So your agreement with the customer is that they don't take it out on the road?
well, essentially the customer can take it wherever they want to. We just tell them that we don't suggest they take it out on the road. There has been a few that have come out on the road, went to the gas station to get ice, fill up with snacks and stuff, then come back down. But we tell them, hey, why don't you just get breakfast at the River Bottom Grill?
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, well, that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Like I said, it's a very busy intersection, and if you do decide to drive a stake in the ground, put a building up and call it a business for real, long term, then that's something we'll have to address at that time. Your parking, your agreement with the river bottom, is that in writing?
Yes, it's in writing. Yep. Yeah, as of a week ago. Yes.
Okay. Wow, looking pretty good. Welcome to Florence.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I have. Do we have any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, just a curiosity question, and it doesn't relate to this in particular, but to the north of this site, there's a white building. Does anybody know what that is?
That is, I have it right here.
Wow, on the spot, Ms. Benitez.
The building to the north of the property is owned by Florence Immigrant and Refugee Project, but it's currently not operating. I tried to find open times, but it just said that it was closed at this time.
Great.
Yeah, I drive by it all the time. There's not really a sign out front. There's just sort of a swoosh with a bird, and I always wondered what it was. So thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments? Then I will move that we approve the request for a temporary use permit PZ 2115 by the applicant Roy Mannard from Edge UTV Rental. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I'll sign.
So we have a motion by Pranzo, second by Commissioner Pro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey,
All those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Maynard.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for the approval. And I'll say this, if any of you guys want to get in contact with me, you sure can. I've given my information to the city and I'd gladly come down and meet with you guys. I love small cities. I have a background in economic development. I think what you guys did here was pretty awesome for me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Good.
Good night.
Mr. Maynard, just
Yeah.
remember your focal point is the community development people.
Okay.
All right. Moving right along. Discussion,
Thank you.
decision.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Discussion, decision to determine if the commission wishes to return to in-person meetings in the town council chambers. Ooh,
Yeah, Mr. Bronzo, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the commission. Yes, we've been asked to work to discuss with you and we'll be discussing with the HDAC also, as well as other liaisons will be discussing with their boards and commissions. But the opportunity is there to go back to in-person meetings. One of the things that has been discussed and is being worked on is what they're calling a hybrid meeting, which like Monday night, the council was live in the room, along with the town manager, clerk, attorney, and I'm not sure who else. And the rest of us who were participating in the meeting accessed it via Zoom. It's being recommended to us as recently as this evening that this is kind of one of those things that if the commission wishes to do it, it's going to be like an all or none situation. So they would prefer that not, if one or two commissioners prefer not to be back in, person meetings, then we should stay with the Zoom scenario rather than trying to split commission up between some in person and some otherwise. There were some bugs on Monday night that I understand are being worked out, having to do with bandwidth, because those of us who were Zooming in remotely and participating, we were not hearing all of the meeting. We were missing at least half of what was being said. There was a lot of hiccups. We understand that they're working those bugs out, so that could still happen. But right now, the preference is if you wish to hold an in-person live meeting, you can do so, but it would require that all commissioners be present. So with that, it's open to discussion, and whatever your consensus is, we will relay.
Well,
All right, I'm going to put some stuff on the table and we could just kick it around. We all know what COVID-19 is, and we understand that part. First of all, it's public meeting. So I think we've lost Mr. Simmons. Did we lose you?
No, he's there.
I lost my audio for a minute, but I think I'm back.
Okay. Personally, I think it's just an exercise in futility if the public is still in Zoom mode. Us coming together eyeball to eyeball to be seen in one place, I don't know what that contributes to the public forum. When the doors are open at Town Hall open to the public on a regular business schedule, where the public can come in and listen to a commission meeting if they have an interest, that's one thing. But to put everybody up on stage and the rest of the world is out on Zoom, just seems like a fire drill to me. So I'll leave it to the rest of the commission to bat it around.
One point of clarification, Mr. Chairman, the council actually sat down on the floor of the chambers, not up on the dais. They were all separated at the various tables that were there, and they were mic'd accordingly. But that being said, it's still the same scenario. It's just that you'd be sitting down at the floor.
Well, actually, I really like the idea that they got down on the floor. I've never liked that up and above kind of thing. So, but be it as it may, you've heard my comments, so I'll leave it to you guys what you want to do.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, personally, I prefer to be in person. I be able to interact with people, see their body language and so on. For the 2 or 3 years that I've been part of the planning and zoning, I don't recall there being more than maybe a half a dozen people present at our meetings. So I don't think it's a big risk opening it up. I mean, we're open up to the public, but I've never, I haven't seen crowds of people attend our meetings. So, personally, I would prefer to meet in person. I like being able to see body language and interact with people. So that's my personal opinion, and I would vote that we, that we begin in person.
I agree with you. I like the body language. My biggest problem with the mask is I can't read lips.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, that might be a question of protocol. And Larry and Marcel, I would guess I would defer to you. If we meet in person, are we masked, or do the masks come off if we're in person?
The other evening, as I recall, the council was unmasked. They were all separated by a minimum of the 6 feet, spread out on the tables. I do not believe there was any public present. I believe were still being zoomed in. that it was only staff and the council themselves. I would presume that at this point that that's what would be asked of us. If you decide to go back to live, it would be staff and yourselves. Public would still be zoomed in at this point.
I tend to agree with the chairman and Mr. Pro that I would love to be doing this in person. And it looks like the way the wave is happening right now that we are fast approaching that. So I guess my vote would be to, rather than try to hybridize this in the meantime, why don't we just give it another month? And it looks like we'll probably be back in person with all holds taken off if Arizona keeps going the way it's going. So I'd rather do that than mess around with a goofy hybrid situation.
Okay.
Well, what we can do is actually just leave this on the agenda. Every time you meet, we'll talk about it one more time. And then, you know, when the comfort level is there, and we will all know it because the council will probably be setting the precedent. You know, it's just something that we can discuss on a regular basis until everybody's comfortable.
Okay.
I don't know about, I'm VA and they finally opened up the COVID vaccine to 55 and above.
Right.
So lucky me, next week I get my vaccine. I don't know what the hell that means because I hear you can still get it if you get the vaccine anyway, but I think the more the vaccine is introduced into the public, the closer we'll get to being able to interact with each other on a more personal basis. But I'll leave it to you guys, whatever which way you want to go. No self-respecting bug would have anything to do with me anyway.
Okay, well,
All right,
I'm not
I'm
hearing
going to
it.
make a motion and we'll see if it floats or if it fails, but I'll move to table the discussion decision to determine the commission wishes to return in personal meetings until our next regular planning and zoning meeting.
And based on standard parliamentary procedure, you actually request it be tabled. It does not require a second or a vote. And it's automatically then scheduled on the next agenda.
Wow,
okay,
I didn't know that.
got a lot of power.
Well,
Oh,
anybody could
crap.
have requested it. Any commissioner could have requested it tabled, but that's pretty standard protocol. I've seen it handled different ways, but if you get it deep into Robert's rules, that's the way it's handled.
Okay, well then, we will look forward to the next meeting and perhaps we'll all get to meet together. Actually, I miss being able to come into town hall and talk with you guys a little bit before we get up on the stage.
Yeah.
I never liked that stage thing, but I do miss their interaction.
Yeah.
Seeing how we're not allowed to talk to each other any other time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. General plan update. Who's on cue?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we're plugging along. We actually have a in-house team meeting next week with the consultant to start laying out and discussing land use scenarios. The survey has been online. They're getting some good response. We're going to leave it available to the public to respond to rather than pull it. The original thought was just to leave it up for a short period of time, but we've decided just to leave it live and solicit input throughout the project. But we're going to start looking at land use scenarios in preparation again for maybe early summer public meetings. And by that time, hopefully we'll be able to do them live to start looking at land use scenarios. One of the big topics that we're going to discuss is the planning area. I think I've mentioned to you before, we have a rather extensive planning area that is not being honored by the town of Queen Creek. They've already annexed into our planning area. And whenever you sit down and talk about the logic of land use planning and general plans, one thing that I think was kind of missed when this current planning area was laid out and discussed and acted upon is that you're required to, by law, to provide services to all those areas. And so the reduction of the planning area would help us look at a much more economical viewpoint as far as planning future utilities, public safety into those areas, police and fire, things of that nature, and become a much more economically or fiscally positive plan for the town in the long run. So that's kind of the discussions we'll be into, looking some of those scenarios that will be ultimately then established or set up for public comment then in the near future. So that's our current status on the plan.
Larry?
Yes, sir.
Just a question, a point of interest for me. Aside from the usual planning and zoning stuff that gets done with the general plan, how do we approach the town's ability to the cash flow in order to make these things work? I think I lost Larry.
No, he's here. He had a dog that was having a conniption and needed to run outside.
Oh, I got one of them too, but luckily she didn't start barking.
Yeah, I tried to get there before that. The whining had started at my feet. You say the cash flow to have these things happen, which are you talking about, the actual infrastructure portions itself?
Yeah, the town's ability, like I've noticed over the last quarter that the services rendered, at least on this side of the river, have diminished dramatically. And so it makes me think, well, gee, the prison's going out. We're going to lose that money. We have some new development. Maybe the population growth will help us bring those funds back up. So I wonder how that fits into the equation when we actually do a general plan.
Okay. All right. The good question. Actually, an economic funding element is part of the general plan itself. And that will be part of the ultimate discussion as we move forward. Okay, we have all of these thoughts and ideas on how the town should and hopefully will grow. How is it going to be funded? And so that is part of the general plan. I'd actually, the various chapters are known as elements to the plan. And one of those elements will be an economic or fiscal responsibility element.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. There is actually an economist on the team.
Well, that's good.
Good. Move forward with purpose. Any other questions or comments on the general plan?
Yeah.
I'll take that as a no. Moving right along. Redevelopment plan. I'm surprised to see it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the commission's recommendation has been forwarded to the town council along with the recommendation from HDAC. The different items that you had commented on and they had commented on have been adjusted and corrected accordingly within that final draft. The council heard a presentation on Monday night in some detail as to how the plan is set up, how it evolved, what it means. And right now we have it tentatively scheduled for their next meeting of March the 15th for resolution of adoption. Now it'll be up to the council, of course, at that time, whether they are ready to do so, but that we are taking it forward with a recommendation for adoption with a supporting resolution. And that all complies with state statute.
I could not get on that night. So I'm wondering how it was received. Was it received well, or were there a lot of negative comments?
No, I think it was received very well, quite frankly. There was an observation made by, I believe it was the mayor, that some of the things that came out of some of the early community meetings and are within the draft of the plan are actually already being undertaken by the town. And what it does is really the plan reinforces actions that the council has already taken in certain areas and lays the groundwork for additional improvements and actions by the town. We had a meeting earlier today, as a matter of fact, on an aspect of the downtown core area and moving forward with ADOT on the improvements that are making down at the intersection of 287 and Business 79. And some of the aesthetic questions that were being discussed today really are in line with the draft plan at this point. So really there's I think a significant symbiotic relationship building between the plan and the activities and actions that the town is currently taking and is anticipated to take in the future. Council's comments that I heard were, for all intent and purposes, positive across the board.
Great, then I could be optimistic. Any other questions or comments on the redevelopment plan? I'll take that as a no. Moving along, future agenda items.
I only have one brief one, and then I'll turn that over to Maricela to elaborate on some other pending items that we have. We are going back through the overall code. We're not going to go as comprehensive as when Mr. Burkhart was working with us on these, but we are finding little hiccups and glitches that we really need to address. So we're going to be bringing those back to you over the near future. They're nothing major. It's just that some cleanups that are becoming very obvious as we're trying to monitor the plan's usage itself. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maricela, did you have any others specific plans?
The next meeting, Superstar Car Wash is looking to come. That's the design review of the car wash up in Anthem. We have sent a packet, design review packet for the Real Bertos or Phil Bertos. It's looking to go on 79, but they have not contacted or submitted anything as of yet. So that one's still just pending. Other than that,
Don't we have 5 preliminary plats pending also?
we have final plats that are pending.
Final plats. Okay, those just go
Do
to.
not have any preliminary plats pending at this time.
Okay.
That's another thing we need to address somehow. I don't know how deep the council digs into the preliminary plats, but Vice Chair's Frost at last meeting, his comments at last meeting were on point in terms of vegetation, landscaping, that sort of thing. I'd like this commission to be a little bit more involved in that area. And I don't know how to go about getting that done.
Well, from a just an operational standpoint right now, I don't think there'd be any issue with us bringing the landscape plans back to you when they're part of a final plat package that goes
Right.
through all the engineering review, but the landscape plans are reviewed by the planning staff. And I don't think we have any issue bringing those back to you. And in the meantime, we are looking at some of our submittal requirements, and we may be attacking the whole subdivision platting section of our code also to see where we need to make improvements, changes, alterations, things like that. So, but as
Good.
far as bringing those back to you, even if it's just for informational, I think would be very appropriate, and it can be part of our review so that if you had comments that we can incorporate those into the staff review for the landscape plans. Because landscape plans also include the entry wall features, although in Anthem, they're already pretty much done. But for any other subdivisions, it includes common areas, playground equipment, ramadas, all those types of things. Those are all included in the landscape plans. We will save you the drudgery of reviewing the irrigation plans too, which we also look at. that is about anything in this business is dull. It's reviewing irrigation plans, believe me. We'll save you that, but we can certainly bring the plans back to you.
Great. Well, I'd appreciate that very much.
And just a question on that, Mr. Chairman, Larry. When they come back to us, will it be still timely that we can comment, or will it be FYI kind of stuff?
Our goal would be to bring them to you so you can comment.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Good. All right, any other questions or comments on future items? All right. So I'll take that as a no.
Sorry, no. There are no more.
All right, call to the public. Do we have any public on?
There is no public on the meeting right now.
Okay. Then I'll close call to the public. Call to the commission, current events only. Do we have anything fun?
Mr. Chairman, in walking through the downtown recently, I think I saw a poster up or saw something somewhere about some sort of a musical event, not this
Yes.
weekend, but the following weekend, but I don't know the details on that. Perhaps someone could give us more information on that so the word kind of gets out if anybody's listening in.
I believe that's still part of the third Friday or
Yes.
third Saturday.
There's the Florence Music Festival is happening. Usually it's a week-long, 2-day event. But this time around, it's only a 1-day. I believe it's Friday, and there's 4 different bands that'll be participating in the music festival.
That's great. I know I'll screw this up and not give enough people credit, but between the chamber and the merchants, and I believe there is some town participation as well. They're really trying hard to attract people to the downtown. This last third Friday and Saturday was very successful. So apparently it's catching on right before summer. So we'll see what happens.
For
But
more
anyway.
information on the music festival, I would go to the Parks and Recreation page on the town
Right.
website.
And it's all over Facebook as well, if you look at Facebook. All right, any other current events?
Mr. Chairman, I just thought of something. I don't know it's a current event, but it would be something I think we'd all be interested in on a future agenda. And that's just to hear an update of what's happening with the prison system here. And I think that kind of following on your concern, if it's going away, is there something else planned for all of those facilities and how those can be economically viable for the town?
Can that be managed, Mr. Harmon?
We will make a request of the town manager to at least give us a written update if he could.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm curious as well. I hear it's still there because the state did not pass the $200 million they needed to demolish it. So it's all up in limbo. I don't know where we're going with this. Great. Any other questions or comments on current events? Then I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Scared me. I did thought the motion was going to fail. It never fails. Yeah, the person writing the minutes, motion by Chairman Pranzo, second by Commissioner Pro. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? We are adjourned.